Okay, Eva, let's begin. I have another meeting, sorry. And Eva, you should explain about Miss Fasila, who she is.
Okay, just a moment. I'm adjusting my camera. Okay, very good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Yeah, good morning.
And Fasila. Okay, so let me introduce Fasila to you. She's doing internship with us. EU for US and Gravity. So she's from Malaysia, but we actually never hide. It's not from MIPI. The hiring is not from MIPI. Okay, Fasila, could you please introduce yourself, your name, where you are studying, and your education background?
Okay. Okay, my name is Fasila binti Hajamuddin, and I'm currently doing my I'm doing my diploma in computer studies in UOW KDU PG Penang, Malaysia. So now I'm doing internship at US and Gravity Enterprise. So I guess that's all about me. Yeah.
Okay, so Fasila, he's Faiz, and we have Jason as well. Faiz from Malaysia and Jason from Vietnam.
Okay.
So we hired them via MITI. We have a program called the hiring process for Japanese companies.
Okay.
So from that platform, we have hired them. Okay, Faiz and Jason, why don't you introduce yourself to Fasila? Faiz first.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Faizuddin. You can just call me Faiz. I graduated from International Islamic University Malaysia in Materials Engineering, which is mechanical, like 4 years to 5 years back. So I had been working in few companies, and now currently I'm doing my internship at Gravity Corporation. Thank you.
Hi, Fasila. My name is my Vietnamese name is Phong, but you can call me Jason because it's easier to call me that way. And maybe I'm similar around your age. At my senior years of university in Vietnam, and I'm currently living in Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. And my majors involves information security, but what focus on my career is business analytics and more of the business side of a technology. So nice to meet you, and nice to have you at the training today.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, so we are going to begin with Agile basic course. Because for Faiz and Jason, you have to learn on Agile for your training, for your internship. Okay, so this is just the introduction, the overview on Agile. Okay, so if you have any questions, please ask me. And do you know about Agile before? Have you learned or studied about it? I started Faiz.
Yeah. Technically speaking, I haven't studied about Agile.
Okay, yeah. And how about Jason?
I've learned about Agile about a year ago when I had a challenge and I have a course in product management. But I haven't really practiced as Agile development since then. I know a thing or two about the theory, but not really a very concrete foundation for Agile. So I hope this is the opportunity for me to read and create a foundation on Agile.
Great. So I'm going to share about Agile today, the overview. And if you have any questions, so please ask me. Okay. And I already know about Fasila on this Agile because we had some practice together on this Agile.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just share my screen. Oh, I couldn't show this. Just a moment. Okay, could you able to see my screen?
Very
Yes.
well.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm happy to share my knowledge with you all today. So this is on Agile Basic course. Okay, so before I begin, I would like to share some of my photos that I have snapped during my Agile training at Japan on 2019. Okay, so here's Mr. Nagase. He's the Agile course trainer. He's my Agile trainer as well. So he actually has his own Agile community team in Japan. And the total hours for this Agile course is actually from basic to advanced, it's 56 hours. Okay, so this Agile, it is not actually for software projects. We actually could use or utilize the tricks and methods in all our work. So for example, if we take a lecture, the lecturer actually could use the method to teach his or her students, and students also could use this to complete their project, and a leader to manage their team. Okay, so I'm going to share with you. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the importance of Agile. Just a moment. The importance of Agile, how we actually could organize the projects around small teams, and why that is such an effective way to work. and how we actually could prioritize the projects, how we set up 1 week to 1 month sprints to gain momentum, and how we conduct daily stand-up meeting. Okay, so before I begin, let me just give an introduction of myself. So I'm Yubarani from Yuvasan Gravity. This company actually located at Johor Bahru, so which is near to Singapore, just 30 minutes distance. Okay, and our major business scopes are Japan recruitment, and then we actually focus on software mobile app development, and then thirdly we focus on this agile training course. Okay, so now let's begin. The Agile basic course, it actually takes almost 6 hours. But today, I'm just going to give you some examples and I will direct to the main points. So there is no definition slides or Agile manifesto. So just to give you an overview of this Agile. And this is actually the main purpose of today's Agile course. Actually, we want you to understand about this Agile. Okay, so Agile. What is an Agile? Okay, the basic idea it is actually to measure exactly what is being done and how well. So to strive for continuous improvement. We actually don't get just better once. We have to get better constantly. So always be looking for something to improve. That's the Agile. And if you look at this pie chart, so the Agile, it is not a single player. It has actually his own team who actually works together to give a better outcome. And here are his partners. So the 56% of Scrum plays the main role in Agile. Then we have hybrid, Scrum XP, hybrid, Kanban, and so on. But I will not touch on all of it today. I will explain only on the important points. Okay, so the beauty. Okay. So the beauty of Agile are the key components. So I'd like to direct your attention to Scrum. So Scrum is a technique that used in Japanese manufacturing. In Scrum, there is a cycle called PDCA, plan, do, check, and act. So actually, this PDCA can apply this cycle to the production of just about anything, be it a car, video game, assignment, project, or even a paper airplane. So how we actually can do this Scrum, how to do this Scrum. Okay, so I would like to illustrate this by using a paper airplanes. So the goal, it is actually to build as many airplanes that actually could fly across the room. So the first, we have to divide the people into teams, and we have 3 roles in the team. One person will check how many planes are actually built that actually can fly, and another one will work on assembly process, also pay attention to the process itself, and also look for ways that the team can make better planes and speed up their production. And everyone actually concentrates on building as many planes that can actually fly. So they have 6 minutes. So first, the first 1 minute, they are going to plan how they are going to build the airplane. And then next 3 minutes to do. So actually they build and test as many airplanes as they can actually fly. And then finally, they will have 2 minutes to check. So in this phase, the teams actually look for how they could improve their paper airplane building process. And they may have their own method to fold the paper to a plane. So here, they actually can know what went right, what went wrong, and should the design be changed, how can the construction be improved, and they will act. So change the way of working on real environmental input. So this is the plan of the Scrum. Plan, do, check, and act. So whether you are making paper airplanes or a real project, you will get actually better, significantly better on the order of 2 to 3 times faster, at least double the quality. So the PDCA cycle is how the Toyota became the #1 car company in the world. Okay, so now we know how to do the Scrum using PDCA, but when and how to check the work with your team. So next, we call the other partner the sprint. Okay, so today we have our internship students here. So let's say every Tuesday or Thursday, you all sit down and look at the massive backlog of things that you have to do. So everything from prototyping a new project, so developing a website to testing the website. And you have to prioritize that list, and you have to say, okay, so given that list, how many things that could you be done this week? So, and by do means done. You have to done all those tasks completely. So for example, this week, you have to create the interface, and also you have to create the admin login page. So for example, and at the end of the sprint, the login page must be created, and the user interface also have to be created. So each week, each sprint. And how do we create the list? So for this list, we actually have, okay, so this is how it looks alike. So we will have a huge whiteboard. The board is divided into a few columns. Fasila, actually, she's familiar with this. We are using Trello online, so where we actually can manage our backlogs. And after this, Faiz and Jason also will be using that. So you will be get familiar with this. Okay, so we have backlog, doing, and done. So each sprint, you have to put into the backlog column as many posts that you actually think that can be done that week. So as the week goes by, you all have to move the sticky to doing. And when it's finished, it will get moved to done. And everyone on the team actually can see what everyone else is working at every moment. And a very important point, nothing gets moved to done unless it can be used by customer. Okay, so in this sprint, okay, so for this sprint, we are often called this as time box. They are set of duration. So you don't do 1 week sprint and then 3 week sprint. You have to be consistent on this. And one very crucial element of an individual sprint, once the team commits what they are going to accomplish, the task is logged in. So for example, team A, actually they have to assign to create the login page, and now nothing else can be added by anyone outside of the team, because interfering and distracting the team slows its speed dramatically. So this Scrum running 4 week sprint, and our goal, it is just not to be a good team, but the best one. So each sprint is an opportunity to do something totally new, and each day is a chance to improve. Okay, so far, do you have any questions?
I just want to ask that whether is the sprints always 1 week long, or it can vary among different organizations and companies?
No, when we take this sprint, it always has to be 1 week. So for example, they set a day, like every Tuesday or every Monday, they have to finish their work. And then if they have any problem, they will discuss on the end of the sprint. So for every organization, it is the same process.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so now it's time to call the sprint's brother. So we call sprint retrospective. So after team has shown what they have accomplished during the last sprint, that thing that is done, and the product can potentially be shipped to customer in our case. So for example, the project manager, he comes for an inspection and to provide some feedback. So the team actually, they sit and they think about what went right, what actually could have gone better, and what can be made better in the next sprint. So that's why we have like 1 week sprint. And what is the improvement in the process that they as a team can implement right away? We have a retrospective meeting. Okay, so the key actually it is to get that step, which is we call Kaizen, which will actually change the process and make it better the next time. So now we have happiness metric. Okay, so why we have happiness metric in Agile, we'll tell you later. For example, I would like to give you an example here. So for example, the lecturers and professors are the pillars of every university. And for a company, every person in the team are the pillars. So at the end of each sprint, each person on the team, they have to answer just few questions. So this is actually to determine the happiness metric. On a scale from 1 to 5, how do you feel about your role in the company? And on the same scale, how do you feel about the company as a whole? And why do you feel that way? What one thing would make you happier in the next sprint? Okay, so every person in the team, they actually have to take a turn, because this conversation, it is actually sparks really insightful conversation. And why? Back with the question, why we have this happiness metric? Because together the team usually comes up with a Kaizen quite quickly. And why they think, what they think is most important for the company. And we rate productivity simply by asking what would make people happier. So as a result, our lecturers and professors were happier and our students' scores dramatically shot up. So for a company, customers were happier and our revenue dramatically shot up. So this is the simple idea of this happiness metric in this Agile. Okay, so far any questions? Because this is just one to our small team. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, so if don't have, let's move to next. Okay, so how we actually can bring the teams together. So we have sprint retrospective meeting, but how we actually can do that as a team together. Okay, so we have a very special person here. I actually call the team members using their names. For example, like, okay, so we have a very special person here, daily stand-up meeting. Okay, so everyone on the team, they meet every single day to discuss how they were performing, and getting everyone in a room is the key. So it's actually good to practice before start lesson or start shift, because it gives the team the opportunity to self-organize around challenges. So if someone was stuck with a problem, the impediment could block the whole sprint. So the meeting was held at the same time every day before the shift, and everyone had to be there. So for example, if the shift starts at 9 a.m., 8:45 a.m., then team has to be there. And the meeting couldn't more than 15 minutes. It must be crisp and direct to the point. If something required further discussion, note it and meet after the daily meeting and during the stand-up meeting. So everyone, they have to actively participate and everyone have to stand up. So that way it would keep the meeting short. For example, from the team, the team is like, I did this, I'll do that. Then on to the next person. So quickly figure out how they could work together as a team and to be crisp and direct to the point. Okay, so the Scrum Master, we have Scrum Master in every project management. Scrum Master, he's the person in charge of running the process. So he will ask each team member during this daily stand-up meeting, the Scrum Master will ask each team member 3 questions. What are the questions? What did you do yesterday to help the team finish the sprint? And what will you do today to help the team finish the sprint? And what obstacles are getting in the team's way? So these are the 3 questions to be crisp and direct to the point. Okay, and a very important point that we have here is highly disciplined teams. So the highly disciplined teams increase their productivity 8 times. The Scrum is so revolutionary, and you can get more stuff done faster and cheaper. So twice the work in half the time. So next we have backlog. So create a backlog. So we have Scrum Sister, the backlog. Okay, so it can be hundreds of items long or contain only a few things that you need to figure out first. So you need a clear idea of what you want at the end of the work. So it could be a product, a wedding, a service, chemistry lab painted. Once you have a vision, you need to consider what it will take to make that happen. So for example, here, the backlog means what are the things that you are going to do. So for example, to develop a website, what are the things that we have to do? For example, login, the interface, and then the designing, the graphics, and so on. So these are the backlogs and the questions that you need to ask. Okay, so what items have the biggest business impact and are the most important to customers that can make money and are easiest to do? So it could be just a small part of a larger project. So if you are developing a website, what needs to be done in first? So for example, in product development, there's 80% of the value in the 20% of the feature. And in anything that you buy, most of the value, most of what people want, it is only a fifth of what has been built. So what if you could start delivering things 5 times faster than your competitors with 5 times value? So that's a winning hand. This is the reason that we are using this Agile. Okay, so the key here is prioritizing the work. So this is how we have our first, we have the backlogs from feature 1 to feature 8, and then we have to arrange based on the priority, which has to be done first and which we actually can skip for the moment. This is called the backlog. Okay, so far, any questions on this? The daily stand-up meeting backlog. Okay, so it's really easy to understand. Okay, so the next we have the velocity. This is actually, I'm going to skip this part because we need a real study case for this. So maybe later on we will have this. So I will skip this part and we move on to stories. So he's a very important guest, the stories. Okay, so we as a people think in narratives, in stories. That's how we understand the world. So we have an intimate grasp of characters, desires, and motivations. The first thing considering a task is character or role. For example, a customer, a bride, a reader, a student, an employee. So who's this task being done for? So think of the what we want to be done on the first place, where to start and stop. Why does this character want this thing? and how is it going to serve and delight this particular customer? So the key question is why? Why does he want that functionality and what purpose will it serve? So before you prioritize what needs to be done for your business, you need to define the character, the user, the customer, the person actually who's going to use and what you are going to do for the person. So you have to know their likes, dislikes, patience, enthusiasms, frustrations, and joy. So the result, we could build the best product for our customer. So these are the key questions. And next we have the stories, write stories. So we have an example here. So for example, let's imagine Amazon.com as a customer. I want the world's biggest online bookseller so that I can buy any book that I want at any time. Okay, but it's really too big to actually to do things with. So we have to break it down, really down. So for example, we have to write stories like, as a customer, I want to be able to buy, borrow or buy books by January so that I can find the type of books I like. And as a customer, I want to put book into a shopping cart so that I can buy it. So these are the things how we have to break our complicated projects into simple things. And from there, we actually can identify what we actually can do. Okay, and a discussion on this. So let me just. Okay, so for example, return to our case, the website development, and as an internship students, you have to develop the website, but you are still new and you have to break it down, really down into manageable pieces. So a discussion can actually ensure about how to implement them. And the team actually decides how work will be accomplished, but what will be accomplished is decided by the business value. These are what we call as courses of action. So in real projects, if the stories are really ready, the team will double the speed of implementation. And if the stories are really done at the end of a sprint, teams can double speed again. And this is one of the tricks needed to get twice as much work can be done in half of the time. So any questions so far? This is really important for stories and also write stories. Any questions? All good? Okay, about this sprint planning, I will skip this part. We need a real case on this to study this. So I will skip this today. Okay, so we have the happy. So this is essential. Happy people, actually, they simply do better at home, at work, in life. And they make more money. They have better jobs. They graduate from college. They live longer. Happy people sell more stuff, make more money, cost less, are less likely to leave their job, and are healthier. So people aren't happy because they are successful. They are successful because they are happy. And how do we make ourselves, our employees, our fellow team members happy? So how do we channel that happiness into greater productivity and revenue? So the key here is connection. The more connected people are to other people at work, the happy they are. And apparently the more productive and innovative as well. So create this connection not only on one team or in one department, but across the whole company, and not just between people at one level, but between different levels. So everyone from VPs to account receivable clerk. So what they don't have here is authority. So no one reports to them, rather they report to their own group. Don't give anyone, because the key concept here, we don't give anyone performances appraisal or promotions or raises. We do design on the vision by persuasion and not by coercion. So because the success, it is not only by individual, it is because of the whole team. So the leadership has nothing to do with authority here. That's the main point of Agile. So it has to do with knowledge and being a servant leader. We don't have authority there. So the leader, his responsibility is to persuade and demonstrate that his way is the best way and a right way to his teams. So the idea is actually to get rid of all the titles. So if people have a special title, they tend to do only things that seem a match for that title. And to protect that power, that role, they tend to hold on to specific knowledge. So by eliminating that title, they were only the team members. So they were no longer simply individuals with separate skills, but rather a team trying to move a goal to done. So imagine how much a productive company would be if everyone worked towards a common goal. So the Scrum, through its retrospective and transparency, illuminates this kind of behavior almost immediately. And it actually becomes obvious where the roadblocks are and the waste is. So this is the key idea of this happiness matrix and also the happy. So, and okay, so finally we have our risk member, but I am going to skip this part as well. So let me just tell you what this risk about. So this Scrum actually allows you to reduce risk of failures. And the three most common types are market risk, technical risk, and financial risk. So in the other way, do people want what we are building? And can we actually build it? And can we really sell what we have built? So according to this, we actually could identify the most common three risks. But I will skip this part today. So we are not going to go through this. And finally, we have extreme programming, but I will skip this too today. No worries, because this is actually tells you exactly how to approach coding. So this is more on coding. Okay, so before I end, we are at the final slide. So do you have any questions so far before we end? Sure, no? Okay, so the important part of this Scrum, it changes the culture people work in, which can be scary for some. Indeed, the company had to get rid of employees who couldn't make the switch, not because they were incompetent, because they were holding information and knowledge for their own benefits. So to ensure their own indispensability rather than helping the team and the company. So changing the culture, though what it allows the true emergence, true excellence to emerge. So never ever settle where you are. Please think, what is the little improvement that can be done right away that will make things better? Okay, so thank you so much. That's all from my side today. We just covered the basic an overview of this Agile. So I hope you understand on this Agile. So Faiz, is that all okay? Your mic is on mute.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, well,
Yeah.
actually, based on your presentation, thank you, by the way, thank you for the presentation. Based on your presentation just now, it remind me about the quality control knowledge that also a bit related to Agile. So, you know, like Kaizen, I learned a lot about Kaizen and practice during my working few years back. And but it is not Agile, by the way. But I think it is like the same thing. And are we going to continue, or are you going to elaborate more detail about Agile training later?
Yeah, maybe if we have time. Yeah.
Yeah, and one more thing
But
is
not today. Maybe.
okay, one more thing is what is the real case? Can you show me the software of Gravity that implement Agile methodology or software?
So for the real case, actually, that's why I skipped a few slides. We don't have real case for now. So I have to prepare that for you so that you can understand really better on this Agile. Okay, so if we have complicated cases, you won't be able to understand that. So that's why today is just an overview, just to give you an introduction on this Agile. What are the things that we have in this?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe before your intern period, before your intern ends, so I will try to have another session on this.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And you actually can see this Agile methodology and his partners roles in more logistic industries.
I see.
Yeah, as you have said, the quality production, right?
Yeah.
So more likely, yeah, in manufacturing sectors.
Yeah.
Yes, Jason.
I'm wondering that is that the Scrum, the creating the Scrum is the responsibility of all members of the team, right? I mean, every single one in the team have to create their own Scrum for align with the overall Scrum of the week when we work on Scrum, or the Scrum will be assigned to each people, or we have to create our own Scrum accordingly to the overall Scrum of the team.
You mean the Scrum methodology?
Yes. What I'm trying to ask is that we have a week. Scrum is a week, and we have to move everything from to do to done, which is valuable to customer. And every single week we have to create a new Scrum on our own, right? I mean, every individual have to create their own Scrum. Am I right?
Yeah. So it is not, but for the backlog, we don't call that as Scrum. Scrum, it is the PDCA part, and it has 56% of their role. So we have different kind of Scrum inside. So for example, in your case, you are asking about the whiteboard. So the one we call as Scrum Bun. So from to do, and then doing, and then the done. So not individual person will be creating what he's going to do for the week. The team has to discuss. together. So for example, if you are developing the website as a team, Faiz, Jason, and Fasila, you have to discuss together for that.
Okay.
And you have to actually divide the task between you guys.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Yeah, thanks. That's all question I have, Oliver, on that point.
Yeah, this Agile, it is actually overall methodology. And inside this Agile, we have so many characters inside, roles inside. Yeah, we have Kanban, Scrumban, XP, RIS, and so on. And Fasila, do you have any questions so far?
For me, no.
All good in this Agile?
Yeah, all good now.
Okay, so that's all from my side. Thank you so much. And let's wait for Kimo-san. Let's hear it from Kimo-san.
Ayuwa, thank you. To internship, Faiz and Jason,
Yeah.
could you understand the essence of the Agile development?
Yes, very well.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
And if you have questions, another questions, please post the Teams workspace.
Absolutely.
Okay, first, could you understand about Agile software development?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today you had a good job. Thank you. We will close
Yes.
this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you very much.
training.